Hey y'all, welcome to episode 255 of Consignment Chats. What's up?
Molly, you pushed Samantha over the flippin' edge. Why? This is like too much. You're back from vacation. You already pushed her right over the edge.
I might be going to the Nashville Flippers show now. Like I might, this week in reselling.
I don't even think we need to talk about our week because
last week I announced that I wasn't gonna go there because they didn't even know who Diamond was. And she's just a precious little lapdog. But now I don't know.
Hey y'all, welcome to Consignment Chats. This is Molly, and I'll be joined by my co-hosts Libby and Samantha.
Molly, I don't know.
Okay, so we're not going to talk about last week, but I kind of sort of am talking about because I was on vacation and I kind of had two back-to-back vacations. So I had a little home for a couple of days, back out. So I have been gone for a little bit and I may have sourced in multiple places. So the first trip to Virginia with my reselling friend Lisa, yes, we sourced, came back for 24 hours, left for a high school reunion on Hilton Head, then went from Hilton Head to Florida for a cruise. So yes, we sourced Hilton Head. Yes, we sourced on our way to the cruise. And yes, we did a huge sourcing on the way after. So I have definitely sent Samantha over the edge. If you are on podcast, you are going to want to hop over to YouTube and see this video that I'm about to share of my living room when we got home yesterday and everything was laid out on the floor. This is why I sent Samantha over the edge, y'all. Look at my living room, would you? All of this inventory.
Oh
my God.
All of this inventory.
So even the end tables are covered.
Even the end tables are covered. And I realized after I took it, I missed the pile on the other side of the couch. So there's even an additional pile.
What?
So I have so much inventory that needs to be listed that right now it's hard to walk in my living room because it is covered, as you saw from the video. So I thought, as you know, I am going to redo my inventory system between now and spring.
Thank God.
And all this new stuff. So I am so overwhelmed going on vacation. You know, we did unplug. However, my brain did not unplug from my home and my inventory system. So let's talk about inventory systems. Let's break it down because while I was on vacation, the one day I did have internet, I had a tag on Facebook. Samantha actually tagged me on somebody else's inventory system, knowing that I am struggling. The struggle is real. So this is incoming inventory that you just saw. Eventually you'll see the way it is before we switch it up. But I need to really think about how this process is going to work. So you guys are going to take the journey with us. Y'all are going to help me because when I go through this process, I want to come up with the ultimate inventory system. If I'm going to put the time and money into this like I plan to, I want to come up with the ultimate system. The
ultimate system. Well, shout out to the K-Way shop. They're the ones that I tagged you in one of their videos, and they had a lot of good conversation. They shared the exact boxes that they use and all that stuff. Just about the inventory system that they do that lots of people do. I mean, Libby does a similar one. So yeah, there's tons of resources out there. We can find you the right system and meld it to make it fit for you. Everybody's business is different. But if I have to hear you talk about how you sold something and you can't find it one more time, I mean,
if I have to deal with another pair of missing earrings or one earring or we can't or Nick's losing his mind and, cursing in the back of the videos we're recording.
Hold up a minute. Wait a minute. I am very willing to make this episode about inventory systems and where I'm headed. But I am not going to sit here and let the two of you pretend that you have not searched for hours for missing items in your inventory system. So whoa up a minute and let's be real, people.
My inventory system is perfect.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, said no one ever.
Yeah.
I mean, we know for a fact that Libby looked not 1 day, but 2 days for items that she delisted, and then 3 weeks later they all popped up somewhere. So
freaking sun catcher thing.
Catchers.
Oh my God. Guys, that was like 3 years ago, and we are all still haunted by it.
Sun catcher PTSD.
It maybe wasn't that long, but it feels like it.
But we expect you to exaggerate.
2.5 years ago, yeah.
Okay.
Was it really that long?
It was when she first moved there, I think.
It was not long after I moved, yeah.
Yeah, that was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So we know that you guys listening right now know that feeling. We've talked about it before. When somebody in our Patreon and we're co-working together and somebody goes, oh, I can't find such and such. All of our stomachs get that yucky feeling because we all know what it's like not to find something. Yeah. And I want to start with this by knowing no matter how excellent your system is, at some point over the years, there's going to be something misplaced. It just happens even with the best of inventory systems. Yeah. My inventory system right now, however, is what we can refer to as Consignment Chats chaos. Dun, dun, dun. It is chaos. Luckily, my husband is a determined fella, and so he's the one that goes and seeks out the items. But I want to start, like, you know how my brain works. It's all very overwhelming. So I want us to start let's compartmentalize this process. Like, let's start with what's the real goal of an inventory system? Because I'm better at breaking it down and then figuring out by the end kind of where I need to be. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, the real goal is to take that overwhelm away so that you aren't anxious about the stuff around you or anxious that you're not going to be able to find the things that sell. We've witnessed that a lot in our Patreon group as well. People that come in and they're literally anxious every time they get a sale. They're like, oh, where is that? Oh, do I still have that? Oh, and we have to say, whoa up, go. Let's figure out what we can do with your inventory. So that's step number one, is to figure out why you need to go through your inventory. And are you that overwhelmed? Are you that anxious about it? It's not a good
because I don't know about y'all, but mental clutter, the clutter that's in my space creates clutter in my brain. Mm-hmm. And then I'm not near as focused and I am nowhere near as productive when there's a beep show going on, bleep, a shizzle show going on in my living room right now.
Now I like this.
And a shizzle show in my inventory. So I do want to start back to the video I showed, because that is incoming inventory, which is a little different than your actual listed inventory, right? You have your incoming, so my incoming is very overwhelming right now. And I have decided that I'm going to go back to the idea I did when I got the storage unit, only I'm not getting the storage unit. I'm going to break everything down and like items and zip them in bags and put them in and just pull one bag in at a time, because I cannot live with this stuff in my living room. I cannot function. I cannot be productive. So I think that's one of the first things that's important, is to know kind of your real goal is, can you be productive if everything is a shizzle show, right? And how to get rid of that.
I mean, the other part of this is, I think this is the part that gets me when I lose an item or haven't, classified it correctly, put it on the right shelf. The time, like I will literally spend 2 hours looking for one item that may be worth 10, I may be selling for $10. Right. Think about the listings and all of the stuff I could have done or shipped or in that 2 hours. Like, it literally kills my soul.
Yeah.
I hate that. It is so,
yeah.
Here's something else I've repeated, but hey, maybe this is somebody's first time listening to us. So repeating these important things are worth it. When we were back in the storefront, when Libby and I worked in the storefront in Conshohocken, PA, 12 years ago plus, she was figuring out our process of when we brought in consigned items, the process it took to go through that item and get it out onto the floor, to figure out how much money was involved in the time that we spent on that item. And to watch her, you always hear time is money. Like, that's such a saying everybody says. It's one of those, kind of sayings you hear all the time. But it was an aha moment for me that stuck with me, because I watched you go through the process and I watched you figure it out. and I was like, oh, I've never actually taken the time to figure out how much time I spend on something. So that has always stuck with me. And I do think about that. Time is money. I've talked about that with sourcing. When you go to the bins and you can't find that matching shoe, give yourself a time limit to look for that shoe, then toss it and move on, because that may be a good deal on that shoe at the bins. But if you spend 3 hours looking for the match, you've lost a lot of money on that already. So time is money. That is a huge thing. And I'm glad you brought that up, because the more time you spend in your inventory process searching for something, the less money you make on the end of it. So,
yeah.
And
for our new listeners, I think we really need to talk, just briefly mention Money Mountain, what a Money Mountain is. So, we years ago decided that we didn't like the term death pile. It just seemed overwhelming. It seemed heavy. It seemed horrible.
It makes me want to crawl in bed and tuck in.
So go ahead, stop using the word death pile, change it to a money mountain. You're going to hike that money mountain, because it is money sitting there. It's money. All right. I just want to reintroduce that, because I don't know if everybody's heard that one.
True.
Well, and I used that last night when I started getting in my head about all the stuff surrounding me while I was trying to watch the Eagles game. I was looking at it all and I went, you know what? I'm not overwhelmed, because I know what's in these.
There's good stuff. I saw like the latch hook rug and the little wall hanging. Yeah. Like
there's some good stuff. So I pulled out those Chanel sandals and listed those last night. Like there's some money in those mountains. So it changed the way I looked at it. Now I still knew I had to come up with a process to clear it out and deal with it in a manageable way.
And not source while you're doing that?
I'm not sourcing. I'm not. I promise. I'm getting it all done. No sourcing this coming weekend at all. Nope. None.
For those listening, you're listening on Tuesday. It's Monday when she's saying that. We'll all be checking in with her on Friday to make sure that that's actually happening.
Yeah. Really, you're better off checking in with me next week when we record to make sure that, because Friday I still have the weekend to source. You might want to check after the weekend and say, did you source?
All right, everybody, subscribe right now and make sure you see next week's episode as well.
Keep me
where the Money Mountain grows. There's a new range in the kitchen.
Right.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So, all right. So you're thinking about your real goals of your inventory system to prevent the mental clutter and the overwhelmed feeling, to save time in your process, right? To prevent those panic attacks that you get, the ugly stomach feeling that you get when you can't find an item. You get more time. So that in turn takes away stress, which gives you more time to focus on the growth of your business. And more importantly, this is how I feel anytime I clean any space of mine. It gives me confidence. It helps me in the consistency of my work day when I don't have stuff like you see here pulling my stuff away. So I think these are good goals for why you need a good inventory system. Then it's figuring out which one is right, because we all do different things, right? And we've all done different things over time. Like we've all changed the way we do things. So I think talking about the different ways that we do things, the different ways that they can be done, and figuring out, we're going to give you ways to do it. But in the end, it's very individual, because all of our brains work differently. All of our storage spaces are very different. What we have access to is very different. So take and pull the tidbits out of here that work and use them. But figure out yourself, what's going to work for your style, who you are.
So something that Bill and I have been working through, and we just had like a big breakthrough and a big change last week when we kind of not redid our inventory, but like spruced it up and kind of caught up. We had a lot of stuff that wasn't put away. We needed some more space, like that kind of thing. You don't need to know your inventory style, Molly.
No?
Nick does. Like you need to know Nick's inventory style. Everything we do in our basement, I look at Bill and I say, I don't know what works for you. He pulls the orders, he ships the orders. He is there helping me put stuff away. Like he is the one that is dealing with our inventory space. And I know in your household, it's a lot of the same stuff.
True.
So this is really something that you have to brainstorm and work on with him, and show him the videos of different styles and different ideas, because I mean, we all do it together, but like our husbands really do that part of it.
Yes. So that is something to take into consideration if you have people that help you with your shipping and are part of your inventory, to make sure that they are included in your inventory creation process. That's a very good. He recently did the stuff in the garage, and I just let him have at it. My only request was, here's the problem. When you have somebody you rely on to do your inventory system, and then they go on vacation without you,
yes,
there might be a little problem with you finding those items. So the only reason I say that is that our existing inventory system right now, we have more buckets, aka tubs, than totes, aka totes. We have more of those than we do shelving. So Nick, because it doesn't bother him, because he's a runner and a doer and a goer, he has stacked them like 8 high, not on shelves, and they're big and they're full. So the last time he left, like 3 weeks ago or so, one morning I sold several items, but 3 of those items, of course, ended up being on 3 different buckets on the very bottom of those towers.
Always on the bottom.
I had to move y'all, I was done for the day. Like for me, like my back, my knee,
yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. Is like, all right, so for me, I do everything now, but like, can I hand it over to somebody? Like if I ever get a shipping manager, can I just say, all right, here's the pick list. Like, are you able to, can you go do that? And I did have a good test of that when Molly came to visit with her shipping manager, and he did a run through and picked the items to ship. So I think being able to hand that to somebody, whether it's, somebody that works with you all the time, somebody you're looking to hire, I think it's really important that the process is that somebody else can read it and go pick the items. Like what's going to be easiest to hand it over to somebody.
Yeah.
I have plans. It's going to happen one day. I will have a shipping manager.
Ooh, I heard it. Y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here. All right. So let's talk about all the different inventory systems that we know of or that we've used, kind of break it down the ways we do it, pros and cons. And I want to end with Libby telling me your newest system that Billy taught you, because I'm very interested in that, but I want to save it for the last because my brain won't hold it.
Yeah. And, I also have to say that my cousin Samantha, who worked for me for a bit, works in like shipping logistics and everything for UPS. So I was super lucky. She designed, based on what Billy told me, like my whole inventory system. So it's a good one. Yeah, I think it's a really good one.
Oh, all right. We're going to save that for the end.
And you know what? I think we need to say, if you are a small seller and you're like, well, I only have 10 items, this is for you. This is what you need to do. Start now, because it won't stay. Yes. It won't stay at 10 items. You get those couple cha-chings, and next thing you know, things are out of control. So if you are a small seller and you think this doesn't apply to you, you are in the right place right now for everything we are saying. Please.
That 3 weeks ago or so, when I was going to the bottom tubs to find that stuff, I actually contemplated throwing a big yard sale and just throwing it all out there. I wanted to start fresh and do a system from scratch. So I am in awe of any of you that are just starting out, because I would love to be where you are.
So let's first say, if you just know that things are on that one rack in the corner and you call it maybe, I don't know, like the Tuesday rack or something. What was that called? I don't know.
The Tuesday morning, the Tuesday morning shelf.
Yeah. And you're like, I just know it's on that shelf. Is that a good inventory system?
No, not really.
No, it's not.
And we still do it.
And so that's the reminder with the people that have, the 10 items, the 50 items. And you're like, well, I just know that my hard goods are on this shelf and my hanging stuff is over here. label those shelves then. Like, start somewhere, because that will explode and you will not remember which shelf it is on.
We've all been label it anything you want. I mean, I love Samantha was telling Nick about her system when she was here because she was so frustrated by our lack of system.
These shelves, the top one is called office rack top and office rack hanging. Well, it's actually down underneath there. That's it. I keep my like furs and stuff down there, and like keep some of the bigger stuff that I don't
furs. She sounds so fancy, right?
I keep
my furs in a nice climate controlled environment here in my office.
But I know where they are, so when they sell, my husband looks at the thing and he goes, "Go get those out of your office. Otherwise, we would be looking forever for them."
Mm-hmm. Right? So this is smart. And she even you even said this one time we were talking about it, that even if there's like a beautiful vase that you get on consignment or you find at a yard sale and you love it and you want to display it in your living room for the holidays and leave it out until it sells. Look, she's going to show you.
That's right on there. Consignment. That's on consignment. Like, yes.
So in her inventory system, she will label like, living room mantle.
Yep.
Like she'll put it in there because that way she knows. And I just think that is brilliant because we have all these hanging jewelry racks, but we just put them all in there and we don't have like hanging A, hanging B, hanging C. So
they're just all there. Triggering episode for me.
Samantha and I are gonna have to go like get some therapy. Can we charge that to C Chats?
Oh,
sure,
God,
absolutely. I'll pay for it. It's my fault. We'll put it on my shipping manager's insurance.
But yes, no, I want to tell this story about your jewelry because and guys, we've all been there. I cannot reiterate that enough. We've all been there. I used to not label this stuff. Something would sell and I would have to look through my whole house to figure out what shelf I put it on because it was so pretty. We had to look at it and then I was like, crap, where is that? So I went to Molly's. It might have been one of the first times I was ever at Molly's, and she has these nice hanging.
Wait, I just want to know she did come back. She did come back.
I did. I have been back, and I continue to tease her about these hanging things. So, but you got like 20 or 30 of these things. They're double-sided, and they're all filled with jewelry and pins.
Shall I go get one?
Go get one.
Yeah,
let's give everybody a visual so they can all have heart palpitations with me. So
oh God, I hope she doesn't spill it because that'll be another like can't find.
Right? So she sold like a cufflink or a pin or something, one very small item. And Nick goes, okay, well, we just go pull that from over here. And it's like the night, like we're all going to bed. It's the night before, whatever. And Nick and I each looked through all of those 17 times. Molly did too. We all did. And the pin, we eventually found it. It was in one of them somewhere, but like I said, can't you just do like A, B, C, D, each side A, and then you flip it over and it's B, and then or whatever. Jewelry rack A, jewelry rack B.
I don't know. It looks pretty.
It's so hard. So I said, well, if you sell a pair of earrings, what do you do? And he goes, well, we just look through all the earring ones. Well, guys, there's 10. There's 10 earring ones and they're double-sided. That's a lot of time wasted looking for a very specific pair of earrings.
No, all right. I do have to confess that my old inventory is not in the new system yet. Like I have probably, I don't know, 400 pieces of jewelry that have not made it into the new inventory system yet.
Are those the ones in the bags on the cart?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
God, I saw those. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're still labeled, but like when I sell a pair of earrings that has an old SKU on it, I still have to look through 50 pair of earrings, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's a rough time for that.
I want to give this out. If you just looked at my system and thought, oh, I love the way they hang and you can see them all in the clear pockets. And
absolutely.
And like it looks great and they're all in a long rack. When you walk in the room, it looks great. However, do not do that. Just don't. I'm going to tell you why, because I've learned the hard way. because when they fall off the rack or get knocked over, all of the jewelry goes everywhere. There's nothing holding them in there. So we actually had to cancel a sale of a pair of earrings because Nick unfortunately had dropped one. He was going through them trying to find one. It slipped out of his hand and everything scattered. He could not find the match to the earrings that sold. So we had to cancel that order. And of course, 6 months
on
later,
eBay.
we found the earring on eBay. Ouch. 6 months later, we did find that earring behind shelves, even though we were both like literally army crawling on our hands and knees with flashlights. Like, we're going to find this, right?
Mm-hmm.
No. But anyway, don't do that, because in my new system, I already planned to get rid of all the hanging things. It was a great idea. They looked beautiful, but it's not practical. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy way to lose things because there's no keeping them in if they fall over.
I
And
can
they will
see why
fall
you
over.
thought that was a good idea, though. Like,
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was a great
beautiful.
idea. I spent good money on all my little hangies. And no. If you are determined to use them, however, Conchi Consignment in 2026, they will be listed for sale. If you're determined you want them. So yeah, okay. So let's talk about all the different inventory systems. We've talked about the fact that people start with a spreadsheet, right? Sometimes that's something you want to do. If you're a spreadsheet person, or if you're just starting out, that's a great way to start out with a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're assigning things still on that spreadsheet, that you're giving them some kind of a SKU number and a shelf number, right?
Yep.
What else?
So I use a bin system. I do not, where I use totes or buckets if you're from North Carolina, apparently. So I don't recommend that specifically for the reason that Molly said. They're always on the bottom. Everything that sells is on the bottom. We stack ours 4 or 5 high. I think 4. But I have
4 is doable.
I have a Michigan basement, and nobody else knows what that means, but it's wet. I have dehumidifiers going. It's not a finished basement. It's not great. It's like not even a good root cellar, honestly. And so I have things on plastic pallets, and then we have the plastic totes, and everything is in a plastic bag. So we have to be very careful about how we store things. My basement has flooded, and I have lost very minimal amount of inventory. And there's a lot of stuff going on in my basement. So it is the system that we have to have right now. Also, my floor is uneven and our walls are uneven, and it's a whole, we can't have anything close to the walls. We can't have anything touching the walls because they also, it's a whole situation. So I can't have shelves or racks that are all the same. I can't get like the matching. No, it's chaos. So we have bins. It works for us in our situation. I label each bin. So we have A1 through A9. I had A10, but then that gets your opening room for error there if you accidentally say it's in A10, but you accidentally put A1 or vice versa. So I recommend 1 through 9. But I have A1 through 9. Those are all bins. And then I have B 1 through 9 in bins. And I just keep going throughout the alphabet, and we haven't got to Z yet. So I don't know what we're going to do after that. I'll probably just say A, B. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Well, that's what Nick does. I was going to say, Nick does not use numbers on his. They're all A, B, C through Z, and then it's A, A, B, B, C, C, D, D, and that's how he's done them.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm lucky enough to have, my e-basement has finished floors. So I recommend this. I have rolling racks, right? So there's there's like rolling rack A. So on the top shelf is A1, A2, A-1-1, A-1-2. And then the second shelf is A-2-1, and then, and then the third shelf. So I never have to lift any bins off of anything. Like I just literally pull. I don't use bins generally. I use IKEA bags. And if something is fragile, I put it, in a box within the bag. Yeah. But the rolling racks are the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have
do them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have racks too. They are not, well, it's one of, no, none of ours are rolling racks. But we filled those racks and we haven't bought more because we have no space up here. So we're going to add a bunch of racks when we move into our new system in the spring, a bunch. Now, ours probably won't be rolling because we'll probably keep everything stationary with the setup in that space. But yeah.
So
the other thing, go ahead, Samantha.
Well, I was gonna say, Consign Cloud has spoiled me to the fact that I used to have a notebook and it would say where all my stuff was, and I would assign it by a number or whatever. And then I went to a spreadsheet, but I was very bad about making my own SKUs or really like giving everything its own unique identifier. And then as we scaled and I got Consign Cloud, they automatically make a SKU. So I literally just put in the pictures and a little bit of information about my item. It creates a SKU. It assigns which consigner I'm using, all that stuff. And I just put in there, they have a spot where it says shelf, and I just have a drop down menu of what bin or shelf it's going to be on. So I'm very spoiled in that. And if you too want to be spoiled, you can also use Consign Cloud because they're fantastic. Use code chats. But that is.
But only when your business can support it.
Yes.
I always
right.
that out there.
Yes. But that is what helps me and helps Bill for pulling items. So when I send him in the morning, I send him a list of I need the red shirt from A5 number 7382 or whatever. And he can open up that bin, he can find that number and he pulls it and we're good to go. And then that way too, that SKU number is on all the platforms that we sell on: Poshmark, eBay, and Etsy. Mercari does not support SKU, so that's like one more reason to not use Mercari.
Oh, they don't?
No, I don't think so. They didn't before. No.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it was really annoying. So, it's very easy to look on any platform that we sell on and say, oh, okay, that's number whatever, and look it up in Consign Cloud and find out where it is and all that. So, yeah. Bin and SKU. Those are the two important things in my system.
Yeah.
So this may send you sideways. Go ahead, Libby.
I was going to say this is an idea I was super resistant to, but everybody recommended it, and I now see the benefits of it, is combining unlike items, because my previous inventory system was like all women's medium shirts. They'd all go in the same bag, all, you know, and everything was like that. And I was like, well, that's just like organized. I like that. I was attached to that. But everybody says like put different, like unlike items in different totes or bags or whatever. And that's what I did. And it's made my life so much easier. The number of items I now mix up, I don't mix up, right? Because like two red sweaters that are similar, I'm having a busy morning. I'm, you know, maybe not as diligent as I should be about double checking the SKUs and stuff. But I love that unlike items together. It's just been a game changer.
Yeah, I think I gave that example. I don't remember who was on here, but I listed like 150 pieces of jewelry about a month ago. And when we went to put them away, so we have big totes, big bins, and then we also have little shoebox ones on shelves. They're all labeled the same, like they all have a number and a letter. And so the little stuff goes in the shoebox because I'm not digging through a giant tote of clothes to find a pair of earrings at the bottom. And I had all this jewelry, and I asked my husband, and I don't know why I asked him. I shouldn't have, but I tried to make sure that he's a part of this because he's the one that does it. But I said, do you want these all in like 2 or 3 bins, or do you want them scattered throughout? Like we'll just start at F1 and scatter a couple pieces in each bin. And I think that sounded like a lot of work to him. And also he's the same way. Like, well, why wouldn't you just put them all in one bins? We know that J2 and J3 are jewelry bins, and that's great. And I said, there are so many, like 50% of these are basic silver colored costume jewelry necklaces. Like you're going to open up a bin because one of those sold. And even though they all have a SKU number on the package, they're clearly labeled, that is still going to take so much time. And those numbers are consecutive. So you have to be super careful about checking each number. And then, oh, that's a silver necklace. Oh, that's a So we had a discussion about it. He said, put them all in bins. And I said, nope. And so we opened up each one. I by myself actually opened up each one and sprinkled them through all of them. And like the next day we sold some, and he's like, it was so nice being able to open F5 and finding the one necklace that was in there. And I'm like, yes, you're welcome. Mm-hmm.
So what I do in mine is I do the same thing. Like I sprinkle the jewelry throughout, but I have like on top of or in the front of the bag, I have like a Ziploc bag that has all the jewelry in it, so it doesn't kind of get lost with all the other
down
inventory.
in the bottom or inside a shoe, or
right. So it's all in like a big plastic thing that's attached to the front.
So I might send you sideways here again, but this is I all that you're saying is where I am. However, I do not. I use Consign Cloud. They give everything a SKU. The SKU is great across platforms, whatever. I do not put SKUs on my items when I put them into the inventory.
I don't either.
I used to print out tags and put them on their bags and put them in there, but that was just a whole nother step. It was more stickers to buy. So I just put the items in the tubs, the totes, shall we say. I just put the items in the totes and know that when that item sells, and the beautiful thing when you're mixing inventory, like they were just talking about, it's okay not to put them in individual bags with labels, because the chances of something being identical are slim to nil. So I took that whole step out, and I just know when something sells, it's in bucket B or bucket CB or whatever. And we go in and look for the red size medium sweater, and it doesn't take any time at all. And I think on this flip side, it saves a lot of time and money, because I'm not buying the stickers or the little plastic bags, and I'm not taking the time to bag them and stick them. I'm just folding them and tossing them in the bucket.
And I do that as well. I don't, on my new inventory, I don't have the SKUs. I know it's in that. If I have two very similar things, I absolutely don't even put them in the same bag. I make sure I don't put them in the same bag.
Yeah. And it takes me longer to look at the SKU and try to match SKUs when I used to do it that way. It took me longer to do that than it did just to go in the tub and find the one item I was looking for, to go through and look at all the stickers trying to find that. It's just easier to go in and get the red sweater, or,
Yeah. I mean, so Consign Cloud in their system they have now, I can print a screenshot. It gives the main picture of the item, the title, the SKU number, and the shelf all in one screenshot. I screenshot that. I send it to Bill. In their new system that they're working on, we're working on them having something that nice, because that really works for us. And I want to get it so I can print that as well. So Bill hardly looks at the number, but it also helps because he sees that it's a red shirt, and he goes to bin 5 and he pulls the red shirt, but then he puts it in a poly bag and he writes the SKU number on it. So that way, when I go to do the shipping labels, I'll say, okay, what's SKU number 01085? And he'll tell me the dimensions and the weight, and I enter it into whatever platform. So like for our flow, it works really well. I would not put everything in an individual bag if I didn't have the basement that I have. Someday when I have like a nice warehouse or a nice whatever, I've been looking at, realtor.com and all these nice garages and stuff.
Right.
I probably will not do that either. Or I'll use the bag and the number and not use totes. I'll just use boxes. So like it could go either way. I am overkill as far as the layers of plastic on my items.
So I lost a thought. Talking about this, the different ways to find your thing. I'm thinking about what we're talking about, and there's, let's say, a new seller who's listening to this episode, and they're like, but I use a spreadsheet so to find my inventory. Well, again, we say put that on your inventory sheet where it is. But what I do is that item that sells on eBay, I just open it on my app, go to the eBay app, go to the solds, and I screenshot my sold items I have to go pick. And then that's how I get them. That's what I do. I don't print out anything. I go by the photo of what's sold. Okay, that was the size medium, Trina Turk dress,
We're also working on your inventory system though, so I don't feel like your examples are the best ones to use. I'm just teasing.
No,
I'm just teasing.
This is a different part of that fail of an inventory system. This has been working for Nick and I forever. And like when I'm away and something sells, well, now he knows how to do it all, so it doesn't matter. But when I used to have to send him things, I would just screenshot, pull it up on the app, on the eBay app, screenshot what sold, send it to him, and then he would find it and ship it. So if you don't have something like Consign Cloud, you can still go off of your platform's sold items, take your phone with you and go in and pull those items. You look them on your spreadsheet and know, I got to grab this one.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to say, that's what a lot of people do with their SKU field, because it is on the major platforms that we talked about. You can put in your SKU B1 whatever. Like you could just put your shelf and everything in that, whatever your consigner. I did that in the very beginning. If that was, I don't know, Julie Smith's, then I would say JS and then where it was and all.
JS 12, right.
Yeah, you can put all of that in your SKU, and that way it's on all your platforms and in your spreadsheet and wherever you keep track of stuff.
So you can create it yourself and put it in there, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing so that you don't have to worry about these other things. Now, I have actually seen where people will put it in the title of their item at the very end, like, B1. I understand because that pops up, you see it right away. However, I will tell you will field messages where people will want to know what B1 means, and just create your own SKU in the SKU section based on your item and where it is. And that way you just screenshot it, go pull it, ship it, boom, done.
If you are listening and you're saying, well, I don't have a SKU option in eBay, or it's because you don't have a store. And if you have more than a few hundred items listed in eBay, you probably should have a store. You're probably paying fees that would equal the $5 a month for the store. And having a store in eBay, that's one of the perks, is you get that custom SKU field and it shows up everywhere, and for you, not the customer. And it can be a game changer if you're starting this inventory journey.
Yeah. And like, as far as scalability, like I would say probably generally have more shipping than you guys. And I also don't have a shipping manager yet. And so, what I do is very different. When I'm like in the mornings, I will literally just use the SKUs to create a pick list. I print the pick list out and I just go around my and just pull all the items based on, their location. And so I'm not doing like screenshots or anything like that. I do it all at once. So, I mean, you could do that from a spreadsheet. You could do that. I do it from Consign Cloud, but yeah, that does make things a lot easier.
Yeah, Nick liked your
more
pick
scalable.
list.
Yeah.
When he used it, he liked it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about things we need to ask ourselves before we choose how we're going to do this system.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. I think we've talked about this before with any reselling business. The first thing to consider is space and how much inventory you want to maintain. That's huge. If you live in a 1-bedroom apartment, your space is limited if you're not renting somewhere else to do this.
But you still need an inventory system, even though.
But you still need an inventory system. Even if you decide, I'm just going to sell hats, belts, and jewelry, you still need an inventory system for your 1-bedroom apartment. Trust us. Just trust us. But think about how much of that inventory, how much do I want to maintain? How big do I want this to grow? And then I would say add a little percentage to the end of that, because no matter what you think, you always end up going a little higher, I think, because you're sourcing or a consignor brings extra items that you just can't say no to. So just take that into account. You can't decide that and be stuck on a number. Decide on something knowing that if it's a little more, you still have the space and you still have the ability to maintain and manage that space. Supplies. What's your budget for supplies? I mean, that you have to think about for storage. Are you going to use IKEA bags? Are you going to use boxes that you get from the liquor store? Are you going to use totes or buckets with lids, shelving, or just stack? I mean, all those things cost money. So you need to think about that too. What is your budget for supplies starting out? And that will change over time. And that's okay to change and grow that with you as long as you start your system in a manageable way. That system can grow and easily change, unlike the nightmare that I'm going to be dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, start where you are with what you have. If it's, boxes from the liquor store, then start with boxes from the liquor store. Don't let, the idea of it has to be perfect and everything has to be beautiful and perfectly arranged hold you back. Start where you are with what you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. What else do we need to talk about before we break down your system, Libby? Because I'm dying to hear about your system. I know I need to talk about how I'm going to do this without losing my mind, aside from paying to fly you and Samantha down here to help me for a week. Because I do have listed inventory, probably about 5,000 items, and will be more by the time I do this transition. So, yeah, I'm going to melt down.
Right.
I'm already melting down.
You're not going to melt down. You're not going to melt down. So I told you guys about like my inventory, like, and how it, how it's arranged on the rolling racks in IKEA bags, like, and everything. Every single bag is labeled with a shelf number. But here's the thing that really just saved me, because this is what would happen previously, and Samantha can attest to this. I would have bags and bags of unput away inventory, right? I would list and I would just stack them up and it was my least favorite thing to do. So I would just stack them up. I would probably have a couple hundred items that needed to be put away in inventory.
And then every week in our mastermind or in any accountability group we were doing, her goal was to put away some of that inventory.
Yeah.
And it was such a heavy thing all the time of, I really need to clean off this rack.
Yeah, it was bad. It was out of control. And so Billy came in. She was like, well, I just put it in the bag as I list it. And I was like, wait, what? So literally I will get bag A-1-1 down off the shelf, or whichever bag is currently like not full, set it beside me, literally list the item and put it in the bag. Like, I can't even tell you how revolutionary this was. I mean, think about it. I never had to put inventory away. It just got listed. And, it's so much less likely you make a mistake if you're literally putting that right on the listing as you do it. Like A-1-1, boom, in the bag, done. I never had to put away inventory again.
Yes.
I like
so
this.
There's multiple versions of this. So some people go a step further and they don't even put numbers or anything on the bag. They will have numbers on their items, and they will start. And I think this is kind of what Billy does too. You start with item number 1 and you fill up a box. So that's like 1 through 20, and your next one's 21 through 39. And you just keep going. And then that way, if, as you're selling stuff, you're pulling stuff from each bin. And this is what the K-Way shop showed the other day, and it was explained to people that when you get towards the end and you're like, I don't have any boxes to fill up, they said they go through like once a week and they just condense it all down. You have to keep it all in order or this could go very wrong. And you have to be able to see the SKUs, whether you write the SKUs on the front of the box, which I think is what Vanessa does with hers, or you have them on the item and you can see them from the box, like, oh, that's the SKU that's in this box. So it's a little bit of time to figure out where all your SKUs are, but they can just condense them down, and then boom, now they have empty boxes. They know that their oldest stuff is always at the end. Like that's always their oldest things. This is always their newest things. And like I said, just once a week, they go through and they condense it all back down again. Oh, here's 5 more empty boxes. And they just put them all, and they don't have to assign a shelf to anything. So there's lots of versions of that.
I don't know why that's confusing me.
It can be confusing. You have to see it. And yeah, it took a while for me to wrap my mind around it. Hustling Hacks did it in their warehouse. And I mean, they had like 25-foot walls and shelves and did a huge scale of this when they were in their heyday.
I think it would be more organized, but like my thing with that, why I probably wouldn't do that, is just because you're touching the items more.
That is exactly what I was
Like,
going to say.
like,
You have to take the time to condense them once every couple of weeks or whatever to condense them. So I like your idea of just pulling something down and adding the new stuff in.
They probably have much more quick turnover.
They are whatnot sellers primarily, I believe. So they do have a huge turnover for stuff. Like, it's quick. They had a lot of valid points in their thing of like, they argue that you're spending more time opening each bag or tote or looking at each one, trying to find where you have space to go and put your next items. But the other side is, as I looked at all their inventory, it looked to be, and I could be totally wrong, I don't really follow along with them. It looked to be all clothing, all in the same size bag, in the same size box. You could easily see the SKU on each one. Like, for everything sellers and like we have a lot of different stuff. My snowmobile jacket's not going to fit in the same size thing that your t-shirt does, and so on and so forth. So that is harder if you're mixing types of stuff and doing that. But for their style and their clothing, they had a lot of valid points as to how it actually saves them time.
So I did read, I think in the comments when you tagged me on that, I didn't take the time to go through it all because I was on vacation, but I did see somebody in the comments said they kind of do that system. They put their things in individual bags, but when they sell that item, they put that bag in a pile on their desk. So when their new items come in, they just reassign it back to that bag.
I think some of our members do that. Yeah.
And I like that idea because then you're just reusing it and putting it back.
That sounds like it takes even more time though, because then you have this box of random bags that you've pulled from random places. And now you're going to take that. Is that bag assigned to a certain bin or box? Because now you have to pull, okay, I got bag 2. I'm putting this shirt in it. I'm assigning it in my spreadsheet or my system, bag 2. Now I have to go up to box 1 and put bag 2 away. Oh, bag 49. Okay, now I have to put bag 49 in.
Yep.
Like, that sounds like a lot.
I got to tell you, I'm going with Libby. I think I'm going with your style. I think I'm just going to list and put it directly in and assign it to the ones that have the room and just do it that way when I move it through.
Yeah.
I like this.
I like it. Now, for those of you that have the option bag, box, tote, like, there's a very specific reason I use the IKEA bags. I have no moisture problems or anything like that here, so I can do that. But I can see in the bag, right? There's never a lid I have to take off. There's never, like, literally, I just kind of tilt the bag forward and just grab the item. So it's really good. The other thing about that is they're flexible in size, right? Yeah. So it's not taking up more room than it needs to be. I could easily see, all right, this bag is almost empty. Let me add all the new inventory items to that. It's very, very quick. So if you have that option, just give it that consideration of whether you're using like a rigid plastic tote or something like an IKEA bag that's open on top.
And I'll throw this out there. If you are a tote or bucket user, tub user like I am, we buy the clear ones for that very reason. We can see.
Oh. Yeah.
So they're all on the shelves, but we can see visually how much is in each bucket just by looking at it.
Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get all of ours are clear, except for the big ones that are home goods. Those are the black with the yellow lids out in the garage. But all of our other stuff is clear, but we will eventually move to all clear. So
see, the clear ones don't stack as well for me. So we actually are moving away from them and doing more of the black with the colored lids. There was a deal at Menards and we got a bunch of them and now we're transitioning. But I agree that part's nice. So what Bill and I do a couple times a week or once a week, we will, because especially now I'm listing a couple hundred items a week. And so I'll say, okay, it's basement time. We'll go downstairs. And we will have our IKEA bags and bins full of inventory. And I will pull up Consign Cloud. They have this awesome thing where you can either scan a SKU if you print that way, or you can type it in and it creates a whole list for you. And I can just bulk edit. So Bill will he'll just open A1 and he'll say all the SKUs that he's putting into A1. and he'll close the lid and he'll say, okay, A1. And I then bulk edit, put those 10 items in A1. And then he goes to A2 and he tells me all the SKUs and I'm typing them in on the laptop and he puts them in there. And we do that. It usually takes us 1 to 2 hours a week to put away our inventory. So
that's the beauty of having a partner to sit there and do that with, right?
I put all the jewelry away myself. It took a lot longer and we've already had errors. So clearly I cannot be held responsible or left alone with my own inventory. It's just not. Nope.
So I want to throw this advice out here to those. We've talked about those that are just beginning, that this is where you want to be, where you want to start it now. Even if you're starting with 10 items, start it now. But those that are in my predicament, or our friend Vanessa, who was in the same predicament and made her way through it, where you have to go through and completely revamp your inventory system. Libby said something to me earlier today that I like, and I don't think we were recording at the time. I think it was just you and I talking, that you started with new inventory first. So I like that, because what that means is the video that I showed you in the beginning of this, of all that stuff in my living room, I'm not going to put it old style so that then I have to deal with it in 2026 to put it new style. I'm going to go ahead and start doing that system with items moving forward. So it's less I have to deal with when I'm transitioning all of my items.
And we recommend that for any change that we're talking about, anything that we do. If white backgrounds, everybody has to have white backgrounds in your photos. We don't recommend that you sit and go through all of your old listings and change all the photos. You start with
Diamond.
That was actually not Diamond. Is that Junior?
That's Junior. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was Diamond. Hi, Junior.
We say just start with the stuff you're listing. That's the least overwhelming way to do it. Start your new process, your new whatever with the stuff you're listing, and then trickle your old things in. Kind of like a delist, relist. If you're going to do 5 a week with that, do the same thing with your old inventory. Do a shelf a week, a box a week, a bucket a week, whatever you're going to do, and just trickle that stuff into the new system or the new white backgrounds or the new whatever somebody is requiring of us this week.
Plus, you're going to get a little trial run of it, because you might decide, hey, oh, wait, I didn't notice this isn't quite going to work the way it should. So yeah, you'll get a little trial run. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm telling myself it can't all be in one day. And I love to batch my listings. So I think I'm going to do, when I'm doing all this transition, going through the inventory, looking at, every time I do this, and I used to try to do it once a year, but it's been a little while, to go through and make sure everything in each tub is actually still listed and we still have it. And you will find things that are no longer listed. It is a thing. You will find things that you thought were listed that are on one platform and not on the other. As we go through that process, I'm going to use my batching brain for that, because I do better when I batch items and do that. So I'm going to figure out a way to, whether it's one tub at a time, hello, Junior, one whatever at a time. I'm going to take
Smile, Junior, you're on video.
Right? I'm going to take those and do the small goals with the celebrating small wins, so that it doesn't overwhelm me, because I know what happens when I get overwhelmed. So, yeah.
So I just want to give an example of the spreadsheet one. I know there's somebody listening to this and they're like, that all sounds really, really ridiculous and it's a lot going on. And I just have these items and this stuff and I just want to be able to find it. My mom, I'm going to use her as the example. I went and helped her with her inventory a little bit. She has stuff organized on shelves, in drawers and all that kind of stuff. It's great. But she didn't have any of it written down. She just knew that those books were in that dresser or this thing was in that closet. And then she kept listing. And, now she has 500 items and she's like, 250 of them are books and they didn't fit in that dresser. So we started going through her stuff and I would literally just take her eBay title, just copy that eBay title, put it in a spreadsheet. And then the next column, where is it? And just, that's it. It would be, Edmund Fitzgerald book, whatever. And then the next column would be like, all of her rooms in her house have different colored paint on the walls. So we would be like the blue room, the brown room, and then what closet it was in, or what dresser, or whatever. And that's
a really good way to start. Yeah.
It's so nice to just start that way. And then, even though, okay, so you started with 100 items, you can scroll through 100 items and say, oh, Edmund's Fitzgerald book. But as you grow and you scale, you can use the search feature in Google Sheets or Excel or whatever you're using, and search for that specific item, Edmund Fitzgerald, and then it's going to show you what you have and what area it's in. So I think that is like the easiest, simplest way to start. It's free. Everybody can get some sort of free sheet of some sort and use a spreadsheet like that.
Awesome. Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. All right. So I think like the systems are good. My big thing is going to be organizing. So what I'm doing, and I'm going to tell everybody this real quick, I am turning my garage into my listed inventory space. So that is what we're doing come spring. So we're getting a new garage door. We are upgrading the electric out there. We're adding a split unit for the heat and air, and we are adding a dehumidifier, and we are replacing our ginormous hot water heater with a tankless one.
Oh my God, you're going to love that. Right?
It's great. So all of that, because that's going to give us a lot more square footage, because the beast that was in this house when we bought it is huge.
It made a big difference in my basement.
Yeah. So we're going to do all of that come spring and redo and seal in our garage. But because I don't want to mess up with the resale value of the home, it will remain a garage. I don't want to turn it into a space and add doors. I want it to stay a garage. But we're going to seal it, weatherize it, so that we can move the shelving up here, out there. And beautiful thing is we have, I think, 4 already existing shelves out there that years and years ago, before my 24-year-old baby was born, before we sold our house in Hilton Head to move up to Greenville, South Carolina, a friend of mine was managing a shoe store at the outlets, and they did a whole revamp of their store. And she called me and said, you got any use for these shelves? They're wire, and they can either go flat or angle for the shoes. And they're like floor to ceiling. And we have like 4 of those. We had more, but we had just built our house at the time, and Nick used them to line the sides of the garage for an organized storage. We still have 4 or 5, I think 4 of them out there. So I'm thrilled that we're going to empty those out, clean them out, and we already have those plus the ones here. So hopefully we won't have to buy too much shelving. But my big part is going to be how to organize that space. So that's where I'm going to need help. So if any of you have ever converted your garage, have any recommendations for me of things you think I should do, how to set that up, best flows, that's going to be a toughie. That's going to be a toughie. That part I think really overwhelms me, but I want to start kind of getting that idea in my head and mapping that out. So
this is going to be an exciting process to watch. I'm sure you're going to document it for us, right?
Yes, I will. And I will do the before and after. That was one of the things we were going to say. We've said this before to people. When you make big changes like this, document the before and the after for your own self. And maybe you're even willing to share it with us. We love it when our C-chatters share in our Facebook and in our social media, tag us when they make any big changes of the befores and afters of like my living room nightmare right now. And once it's all listed, or, you know, any of those kind of things. We love that. So I will document that and do that. So this is what's coming, but I'm going to slowly now try to start getting some of this stuff organized so that when we get all of the physical things done to the house, it's a fairly easy move in and set up. So my hope is we can do this and move the shipping out there too. So Nick has everything out there, and this just is my office and craft room. So I take any suggestions that you want to give, but I'm going to tell you this because I'm going to do it, and I want you all to remember this. Take advice from people, but you have to do what works best for you. It's good to look at what everybody does. It's good to hear all these things that we're pulling from each other. Yeah. But as you've heard, all 3 of us do very different things. And that's okay, because our brains work very differently. So don't think that you can go watch K-Way's video and then set it up the exact same way they do it. And then it might be a nightmare for you because that just might not be the best process for how your brain works and the way you sell your inventory. So pick, choose, take the things that work for you and know yourself and how that works. So,
amen.
Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Sometimes there are crappy basements.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So in all of this, the big thing we learned was saving time. That's a big thing. So I'm going to give everybody one challenge. I want you to identify one small thing that you can do in your process that will save you 10 minutes a day.
Yes.
Let us know what it is in the comments.
Take the challenge. I'm going to report in next week.
Take the challenge. All right. Until next time, girls, get your cup ready, Libby. You're writing notes. Cheers!
I'm going hunting. Let's go.
Thank you for joining Libby, Molly, and Samantha, the ladies of Consignment Chats, as we grow your reselling business. For all things Consignment Chats, visit us at consignmentchats.com and join our free private communities on Facebook and/or Patreon.